is the PlayStation VR. It costs about $350 on Amazon if you want it with the camera that you have to use, and with the game, and with the controllers. So you can see it has earbuds built into it, which should make for a nice stereo sound. So when you turn your head, you know, the world turns with you. It has this kind of a cool Halo style comfort thing that sits on your head. So instead of a strap over the top, it just kind of clamps on the sides, which is actually more comfortable. Here's the optics. There's this nice soft rubber inside. You can see on the bottom there is a little thing that lets you control the volume, and also you can mute the built-in microphone, which of course the built-in microphone is useful for if you're playing a multiplayer game. You can just yell at people instead of having to try and type or something like that. Not that you can really type on the PS4 anyway. And of course, yeah, if you want the PlayStation VR, you need a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 5. There's an adapter to use it with that. But there's also rumors that there's a PSVR 2 coming out at some point. So if you're getting a PS5, you may want to wait for that potentially. So these are the PlayStation Move controllers. These actually have been around since the PlayStation 3. There was this little camera here that was used for basically Wii-style, waggle games back on the PS3 when that kind of game was hot. So in these, basically, you've got the 4 typical PlayStation buttons and the little PS button that goes to the menu. This tip here glows, and that's how that camera is able to track it. The camera that comes with the PSVR also tracks that same glow, just like the PS3 camera did. There's a wrist strap so you don't throw it through your TV. There's a handy trigger button on the bottom, obvious. This button here is called the Move button. It's used in various games. It's tends to be the one you use for like picking things up and stuff.
Hello, human. Welcome to an accurate simulation of Office Worker.
So the first game I'm going to show you on the PSVR is called Job Simulator. Basically, there's these robots in the far future, after humans have gone extinct, that are providing a human simulation for other robots, but they've gotten some things just a little comically wrong. The reason I'm showing you this is because it's a good example of how you can manipulate your environment in VR. So I've got these 2 VR controllers, the PlayStation Move controllers, which function as hands, and they pull the trigger, you can grab, and that's actually all you can do with the hands, but it lets you do a lot of things in your environment. So, like, for example, he wants me to take this ticket, which says...
Workers would traditionally start their day with an addictive liquid stimulant.
And so now he wants me to drink coffee, because apparently that's the most important thing. Go in first. Throw a mug at him, goes, why not? So then I'm gonna make myself some coffee and drink the jug. Throw it to somebody else.
Hey, what the?
Anyway, so some of the things about the PSVR, because there's only one tracker, which is the camera, you can move your hands out of view and it will sort of guess where they're at, but that's really nowhere near where my hand is. And if you turn around, for instance, then you yourself block the view of the hands, and so, there's my hand. And also, if I stand completely still, you'll see that there's a little bit of drift. It's not too bad at the moment, but the view moves around slightly. It's almost like I'm breathing, but I'm actually holding my breath right now. And so, tracking and stuff not as good. The resolution not as good as a lot of other headsets, but it's cheap and it's very easy to set up. And if you've got a PS4 or PS5, you can already play it. You don't have to upgrade your video card or anything like that, like you would with a computer. So not too bad. I'm gonna fart around a little bit. Show you how to do a couple things. You plug in the computer, turn on the screen, turn on the monitor. So wants me to take a ticket. He's going to tell me to get on the computer.
Now you're ready to start your day.
Super secret password.
Computer.
Phone wants something. Yes,
The computer is the most important facet of the office, with humans and safety being a close second and third. Email was an inefficient form of communication popularized in the mid-1990s.
Alright, so I will now move on to another game.
Stand up. Who did it?
So the game I'm going to show you next for the PSVR is Skyrim VR. It's a little more in-depth. Fundamentally the same control scheme. I've got my right hand is holding this mace, which is what I've equipped to my right hand. I've equipped a fire spell to my left hand. It's kind of neat as compared to Skyrim on a monitor is I can like be beating on someone over there and be toasting someone over there at the same time. So I'm just going to go. So I move around by tilting the left controller while holding down the button, and then I can pivot left and right. So I'm going to just take some of these dudes out. I figured in addition to the inside of a cave and a menu, I would also show you actually the overworld, which is pretty in VR actually. There's lots to look at. You can like look at things up close. Even though PlayStation VR isn't built as room scale, you can really still kind of walk around and do some stuff. Sometimes it gets a little confused if you're too far off center, but you can still. I'm showing you next will actually use this, which is the PlayStation aim controller. You can see it's got the same glowy ball on the end of it, so it's tracked the same way as the others, but it's obviously shaped kind of like a submachine gun or an assault rifle. There's a trigger, there's on the back the PlayStation buttons, and there's a thumbstick. There's also a thumbstick up here, as well as the D-pad. Now, the one thing you notice about the Move controllers is there is no thumbstick. There was a navigation controller that came with these back in the PS3 days, which had a thumbstick, but it wasn't motion sensitive for some reason. So if you want to have two VR hands or whatever, then that wasn't going to do. So that's one nice thing here is that this you can actually have two sticks, so you can move around and you can use it to adjust your view or whatever. So this is Firewall 0 Hour, which is a game that Anthony got me for my birthday a year ago or so. And so this is a rather realistic shooter type of game.
the firewall via access point to reveal the laptop location and manually activate it from my hack.
You can see there's like the first tablet where you can see the map and stuff. You can switch to like a mission timer and those kind of things. Pretty realistic weapons. You can actually see all the details and whatnot. In order to hit somebody, you have to actually look down, sight down the weapon. You can see that red dot sight that helps a lot.
Searching for firewall access point coordinates. Stand by.
This is where that two sticks comes in handy, because this one moves you around laterally, and then this one lets you move like this. Now you can also move yourself around in real life. Like a lot of times ducking, for instance, comes in handy. You shoot over the top of things.
Uploaded to devices.
So, for instance, if there's a dude in here, I could peek around things. Oops, here goes the guy. And this is meant to be played as a squad-based shooter, so you usually have 3 people on your team on that solo mode against bots. So that I don't mess a bunch of people up while stopping to explain things. But it can get pretty tense when you know there's actual people on the road.
Hostile down.
And of course, you have to make use of your full environment. So there can be people above you, below you. Defend it, and you have to first, in order to find the laptop, you have to get to a network terminal and then actually hack the firewall.
Firewall down. Laptop coordinates are live to devices. Go time.
So then you have to.
Also neutralized.
Fair enough, show you up against real players. I would be so dead like 20 times over now because You have to have like split-second reaction time, and I ended up let that go. Who would have killed? Whoa, shit. Oops, I forgot I had a revive pistol. Knife people. Ow. Luckily I have a skill that allows me to revive myself once. And then finish him off, so back to you. Oh shit, this one's taking it from me.
Visual on the laptop. Standing by for hack.
Where'd you go?
Hostile deleted.
Okay. Cool. Guess I'm good.
I'm in.
You
Hack
see
is
this
live.
grid? That's because my gun is actually out of the radius of the camera. It's actually showing me where the pins are. Let's see. Whoa.
Hostile down. Hostile neutralized.
You have to stay within a certain distance of the laptop.
1 minute remaining.
Feeling a little tense now.
Data transfer at 20.
I'm throwing two, except honestly I forget how to do it. Reset. Some concussion lines. Oh, I see what happened. It blew my own concussion line. I've been concussed. And one thing about the PlayStation tracking, it tends to get a little, shit. Oh, damn. You got me.
Pathetic. Contract revoked.
Yeah, it's kind of how that goes. Headset I'll be showing you is the Valve Index. So this is for the computer. It costs for a whole kit for about $1,000, so definitely not cheap. I had to wait a couple of years to save up for this one, but this one, rather than a camera like the PlayStation had, this has these two what are called base stations. The other headsets call them lighthouses, but basically there's one there and there's one up there. And because you have two of them, this entire space is covered in sensor data, so you're able to roam around, and it's also much clearer and more concrete tracking. So it's got, instead of earbuds, it's got these over-the-ear headphones, so that there's a gap between your ear and the headphone, which sounds pretty good. You would think that there would be some loss of audio quality, but it sounds just fine, and you can hear what's going on in the room really well, so sometimes that's good. Like if someone wants to come talk to you. With the other one, I have to pull it out of my ear and say, what? But this one, not as much. It's got the over-the-head strap kind of carriage, shall we say. The cord on this one is a lot thicker than the cord on the PSVR, so sometimes it kind of will actually get in your way when you're walking around, so that's one downside. The faceplate is this soft cloth, which is actually very nice. Overall, pretty comfortable. PSVR probably a little more comfortable. It's also a little lighter, but then again, it's also not got quite as much electronics packed into there and that kind of thing. The especially interesting thing about the Valve Index is what these some people call these knuckles controllers. It's officially just called the Valve Index controller, but in addition to there's a menu button, A and B. There's a stick on each controller. There's this trackpad, which doesn't get used that much. There's a trigger on the bottom. There's a grip button. This big thing here is actually a button you can push by gripping. It senses your grip strength. But the really interesting thing about the knuckles controllers, and the reason why they call them that, is you don't actually hang on to them when you're using them. You put them on your hand like this. And the reason for that is this kind of dealy on the outside here is actually finger tracker. So you can make different finger motions. You can grab, ungrab, and it will make your character's hands do what your hands are doing. So you've got a gun, you pull the trigger. I mean, there's actually a trigger button, but you can use it for that. Grabbing things works about like you would expect. You could like kind of put your hand under something and lift it up. You can flip people off, obviously. These kinds of things. So let me show it to you in action. So here we have what is called Steam VR Home. It's kind of like the loading zone from the Matrix, where Neo goes and he can bring in guns and training and everything else. When you first turn on your Steam VR headset, this is where you wind up. It's kind of a launcher spot. It's some kind of mountaintop dojo. You can get different ones, like you can go to some of the locations from some of their games and things like that. I figured this would be a good place to show off some of the kind of basic features of the Steam VR and the Index headset. So here you can see the finger tracking I was talking about. So I can like rock out, I could like flick people off, I can give a thumbs up, whatever I want to do. And you can see this grid here. This actually is what's called the chaperone system. This is ahead of time. I have mapped out where the safe play space is. I had to walk around the outside holding the trigger while tracing nearby walls and things. And what this allows me to do is I can actually walk around in VR and not worry about running into things as long as I don't cross that barrier. And see, it goes away if you're far away from it, but then if you or your controllers get close to it, then it pops up to say, hey, you're about to run into something. Now, the thing about this is over here I got my friends list from Steam, and I've got some of the games I might want to play. You can actually join other people in their quote-unquote home if you want to like hang out, that kind of thing. Anyway, so it was sort of neat, and now I will jump into a game. Alright, so this is Half-Life Alyx. This is the continuation of the Half-Life series after like a decade of no new games. And needless to say, a lot of excitement for this one. I would say it's actually the best VR game I've played so far. Although that perhaps shouldn't be too surprising, since Valve obviously wants to move these really expensive Index headsets, and they built this game basically all around the finger tracking that's built into them. So I will show you how this works. So the loading screen here is kind of interesting. It actually shows you where you've been in the game already. Obviously I'm near the end. Your goal ultimately is to get to this floating vault here, which has a series plot specific something in it, which I won't tell you about. But yeah, you can see some of these stages that I've traversed. So here I'm in this abandoned zoo, cheery place, and you can see here's the finger tracking going on. In this particular case, so I've got these gravity gloves that let me attract things to me, basically, and I can pick them up and I can throw things and all that kind of good stuff. It's also got a flashlight on the back, which only activates during certain parts of the game. I've got a menu where I can pick different kinds of guns that I've got that I collected throughout the game. This is just a very simple pistol. And one thing that this kind of shows off, though, is that there's no HUD for the most part in this game. My health is just these hearts on the back of this glove, and my ammo count is that. Like to see how many shots are in my gun, I have to actually look at the side of it. And then in order to reload it, I have to actually eject the magazine, reach behind me, pull out another one, and slap it in there. If I spent my last shot, then I would actually have to pull the slide back too. Alright, so I can use the stick to move. This other stick, it gives me this jump cursor where I can hop up onto things. So these antlions, which I think showed up in Half-Life 2, you have to shoot their limbs off before you can actually shoot their abdomen, which is what finally kills them. Alright, that's why I was carrying that around. And these things have built nests all over this entire place here. shit. Come on, open up. There we go. See ya. And there's a little goodie up there. This is one of the main uses of the gravity gun is getting items out of secret places. So this is actually a little canister of resin. There are combine 3D printers essentially that you can use to create these mods for your gun. Like I got this one that you can see I can actually load more than 10 shots in it because it all pops into the side here. So if you played Half-Life 4, you'll probably recognize this as one of those health machines. But what you probably didn't realize about those is that it's the goo of these alien grubs that is being pumped into you to restore your health. No, you need health right now, but I'm going to show you anyway. So you can get squashed into paste and injected into your hand, so that's pleasant. Alright, so over here, this is an example of, there's no use key or anything like that. The only way to get this open is you got it. In real life, stoop down, grab the handles, and throw it up. And here's another good example. So I can actually hide behind this in real life, and you can go like that, for instance. And if I wanted to, if I had a big enough space, I could just wander around this whole place. If I change the chaperone system. Oh, fuck! How'd you get out of here? Huh. Yeah, alright. I'm gonna kill your ass before you freak me out again. But yeah, I've set it to only show the floor so you don't get this grid all over the place all the time. And also, it doesn't show up until I get a little closer to it. Hopefully I won't run into anything. You get to see me smack my face right in. So here, I want to go in there, but there's some glass here. So I'll do what any good looter does and smash it with my gun. Oops. I'll blame the couch for that one. So then over here, although it does spare me actually belly crawling through this entire tunnel, I have to get down low enough to clear the door.
Hey, any news on the data pod?
Your dad's head's down. He's working on it. He's got to be close.
Great.
So here's a good spot to show off. Come on. Okay. Using the hand controls to manipulate the environment. So like I'm looking for some good stuff here. And there's also a door I can get to over there, so. Here's another enemy type that will be familiar to players of Half-Life. These are called barnacles. Now these gravity gloves are really handy in this case because you can fool it into eating something that's not you just for a second, until long enough for it to realize that what it's got is, oh, hello, I don't think I ever knew I could go there. Oh, we're gonna go find the secret today. Alright, see if I can, there we go. What do we got down here? Oh. Grenade, that's sure handy. So in order to push the button on the grenade, you have to actually push the button on the side of the controller. Here, got something for you. Ah, I guess that actually hurt me a little bit. In order to load the shotgun, you have to stuff the shotgun shells into it, and then you have to do that. Oh, and I've got these pockets here too. There's only 2 of them, but this is a health thing. In order to use it, you have to actually push the button on the controller, then push the button on the top, and then stick yourself. Oh, honestly, the main thing I use these for is. I guess since it's spent, it doesn't really want me to play with it anymore. So here's an example where a lot of times I don't want to trust the controller. I want to be a little more precise, so I'm going to slide over here. You, and maybe for you all just all this action going on. Oh, hell, you too. Yeah, lovely. Alright, now here's where it gets freaky. So like I said, the flashlight only comes on certain parts. Now, you have kind of a choice at this point because if you want to use your hand to pick something up, then of course you're not going to have any light. You know, like if you need to cock your gun or something, then you know, you're not going to be able to see over there so well. There's at least a little light in this section. There are some parts that are literally pitch black except for whatever you can see with your flashlight. Of course, you can do this whole classic maneuver and put your hand under your gun, and this actually has the benefit that you get to see what you're shooting at. Hello there. Sometimes they do. Whoa, okay. Come on. Punk. An alien that's holding a type of grenade, and if I try and grab it normally, it's all like, nope, you can't have that. So I have to actually. Oh, come on. Jackass. There we go. Okay, yeah, you can have this. And I'm just going to back up now. Yeah, he's dead, okay. Snatch it again. Now, the neat thing about these is you have to squeeze them in order to set them off, which means that grip button I showed you earlier, you literally have to squeeze the controller in order to activate them. Because he's not there. Oh, ow, jerk.
Oh, thank God.
I'm okay.
It was on your face and it was disgusting.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, needless to say, when those get stuck on your face, you have to literally take your gun and shoot them off your face. It's a little crazy. And of course, sometimes there's actually goodies in here, so you have to lean over and look inside. But this is a nice, clean, empty trash can. Kind of fun, actually. It could be the Masked Avenger or something.
Russ, do you think a head crack could turn a gorilla into a zombie?
Honestly, if there's a gorilla on the loose, I'm not sure a head crab's gonna make it much worse.
These boxes here actually have items in them. Usually. Let's back up and try that again. Stop for a second. Explode the gas. Skull blown it, I tell ya.
I got something. What is it?
Yeah. What is it, Dad?
It doesn't look like they actually built the weapon. It's like they, I don't know, discovered something. Or maybe they uncovered it.
What do you mean?
If I'm reading this right, they tracked it to an old apartment building in the QZ. But instead of going in to get it, they grabbed the whole building and built a vault around it.
Holy crap. They must have been terrified of this thing.
I'm trying to figure out whether we ought to be.
Oh, God!
So here we have some actual Combine soldiers. And I'm going to demonstrate one of the places where it doesn't take it easy on you. So normally you can't even squeeze through this spot. If you duck low enough, you can not only pop out the side, you can actually get them from here. See ya. This is you can't get a workout playing video games. Here, take that. Cool. Alright, so here's where I get to show you this little guy. You see, Alyx is an engineer, so she can hack things. So in this case, I'm actually tracing the flow of electricity in the wall. So first I have to turn this on, and then, well, look, there's some laser tripwires. Those are not good. So I want to disable the flow to them, and I don't care about that electric socket. And that enables the flow to the door. Let's see if this guy got anything good. Sometimes, check my surroundings here. Have to see if there's anything good up there but jumping. Right, come with me. Sorry, little fella. Let's see. Oh, got a grenade trap. A grenade. That's probably as good a place as any to call it. Thanks for participating in my demo of all these bizarre little games I've been playing, and hopefully you enjoyed, and you're thinking, hey, this VR stuff's pretty cool. And so good luck to whoever's next. Bye!